Yes, yes, yo, you don't stop, Big John come rocking the short shot. Welcome back. Fastest freaking show in MLB, absolutely anywhere. Oh, with your boy. It's your freaking boy, yo, Big Johnny Stud coming to you from a Brooklyn, New York. As always, coming out that damn chair as always, Italian Tasmanian devil. He's out the cage. That's right, yo. Who am I? The girl, them sugar. Follow me up on Twitter at John Legaza Flow, sharper than a damn razor. Check out the bio with the nudes and the feet pic and stuff. Take it over to Substack, where $2 a week makes all your dreams come true, yo. I'm losing my mind already. I don't know if you no charge. I don't know if you were following along. I was up with the boys at the Source Network last night. We were streaming till like almost freaking 2 a.m. So I'm losing my mind. But I do have show picks up for all the subscribers. If you noticed, they were up bright and early. I post them. You know me, I share what I got. Yeah, it's a Freaky Friday. We're going to get a little freaky DK, Carolina Daddy, B Squared, Jeff L, Mi Gente, B Rose, and Adonis. What's going on? Let's get it done. Do the thing we do. Me and you, the Corked Stats crew, baseball's version of 300. Give the book nothing. Take from that motherfucker everything, yo. This ain't man, baby.
This is Sparta!
Damn right, it's the best part of waking up. Oh, yeah. Pitching sheets up in the mug. Let's go. 15 games. We're going to get it fast as we can. I kind of have an opinion, I guess, formed on all this stuff. Please feel free to leave comments. Press the stupid cartoon finger button because it matters more than it should. Okay, we got the sheets up. They look a little small. Like they look a little small, but squint me. When you're old, man, you start getting tired. Your eyes are the first thing to go. Yeah, I feel like that's it. My viz got a little messed up with the extra column on the Algo board. Anyway, Mikey Burrows on the bump for the Stros. They're plus 113 dog on the road down in Cincinnati to face Nicky Lodolo and the Redlegs, man. You know I love Nicky Lodolo. Bucks trying to suck us in with that minus 135. You really got to pump the brakes on these debuts. They always kill us. Plus, Lodolo can't seem to get more than 3 freaking innings under the belt without that stupid finger popping up. He's facing Burrows, who's really struggled, especially with lefties. I think there is talent in the arm for Burrows. I think we want to avoid him in bad spots. He's going to face a bunch of lefties for Cincinnati right up top. Let me make sure I just have my mind in check. There was another one of those. I want to make sure I'm not screwing. Yeah, right. Because against righties, you're going to get Friedel up top, then Blade now mixed in with Cruz, Nate Lowe. So yeah, bad spot for Burrows. If you're not buying the Lodolo stuff or you're confused like I am, maybe we just like the Cincinnati run line. Shout out to Bet 365, you mofos. Really do appreciate it. Because they have a team total page where everybody's team total's up on the same freaking spot. It makes life incredibly easy. Bet 365, thank you very much. That one is 4.5 minus 115. Like that's probably what I like. I don't. What's the show pick on this one? Damn, I screwed myself over. Hold on. I think I had Reds with the win. I do because I'm a freaking Lodolo honk, but I totally get it. If not, Burrows has been rough as I mentioned, and the bullpen for the Astros has been terrible. Same to be said for the Reds, which is making me worry a little bit about the Lodolo side either. Plus, if he's good, he'll be good to start. So I think if you're betting the Reds, take it F5. If not, you go for the Cincinnati team total. I'm like torn. Like I said, I have the FG up, but I knew I'd be coming back. Man, I don't know if I had to. It's probably the team total, right? We want to be hitting in the environment. I've been talking a lot about trying to cut down on variables, and I think moving to scoring, is a good way to do that. Next up, I was a little thrown off by the price here. I took a little smoke on the Source Network. Rightfully so. I think the Rockies are going to win outright as plus 180 dogs on the road against the Jesus Lizard and the Fighting Phils. Dollander, as good as anybody on a permanent basis. Have you watched this guy operate? He's freaking awesome. And he's done it with a poor ball rate, meaning under pressure, he's thrown strikes to not have an elevated walk rate. That's a really interesting combination. It's never ideal to not have a low ball rate, but to be able to rein it in with low walks and produce, right? So this isn't just like, oh, we're losing strikeouts when he's behind. He's got to go in the zone where he's losing. It's just the opposite. He goes in, he's got a plus 13 swinging strike and an 83 zone contact. Dollander operating in the zone. Luzardo is not a bad pitcher. He's obviously a good pitcher. However, right? But, that big freaking shaking ass. Does anybody explode like this MFer explodes? I mean, this guy is the first person on the shortest list. If you had to bet somebody that's going to give up 10 runs, like no shit. It's just crazy. Rockies versus lefties have not been good, but the contact is there, which they're going to need. Some line drives, which is good. Other than that, it's not been great. Obviously, they're 180 dogs for a reason. I don't think they're a smash favorite. I just think the market is a little bit too cold on the Rocks and maybe a little bit too hot on the Phillies. The Phillies offense has been better, but what do you notice? They are chasing, not taking walks, so maybe we get a good matchup here. They've also been down on the ground, but the Phillies offense, we call this, right? Getting ready to get up off the mat. Oh, yeah! So we telegraph this. That doesn't mean that you run for your life every time the Phillies are on the board. They're very top-heavy and good up there, but not fantastic overall. Rockies have been brutal with the bullpen, so maybe I just want to, not say backtrack a little bit, but maybe move that play to the F5, which always kind of makes sense if you're predicated on pitching with a big underdog. We're looking to get one or two across against Luzardo, and that's it. Kind of get out with our asses intact. I'm trying to get a live F5 price. Well, you can get the run line at plus 110. I mean, I'm such a honk for that. That's my play for right now. I love getting that half run at plus money. That way you're not under the gun to start the bet. We don't actually need to score. Luzardo, of course, a very tough customer. If not, I meant to have the money line up. That's what I was looking for, but last night that's what I left on. Man, plus 155. I see some plus 170s. If we're at plus 170, maybe you could start talking about that money line as well, though I think I'm sticking to the F5. Next up, Jake the Snake Lopez. He's on the bump for the Atleticos. Elephants balancing on beach balls. They're down in B-More to face Kyle, the horse, Bradish. Minus 135, favorite on the road. Fantasy honks pulling their fucking head, pulling their hair out, right? You know, this guy was really chased after, lots of steam. He was very good last year. Just hasn't manifested this year. I haven't gotten to do these full-on deep dives that I get to do in the offseason. They take time. And I want Bradish to pitch on like a Thursday, right? Those are the days that we get to kind of pop the hood and go a little bit further in. But for right now, I'm going to just be a honk to the spreadsheet. The skills are not there on either side. Lopez has been terrible, walking as many batters as he's struck out. Can't get the cold stuff over. Ball rate north of 40. He's going to get F in the A. Finger in the coolie. Horse Bradish, again, 5 ERA, 182 whip. Claude's got him over 6. I've got him over 5. I trust mine more than I trust any of these other ones. Single-digit KBB. 40% ball rate, 51 first strike, 91 zone contact. Not what you're looking for when you're going up against the A's. They've been very good hitting righties lately. That's been a thing. We called it out yesterday. They got the job done. Trends are starting to form. Look at the A's v righties last 2 weeks. 360 xWOBA implies like fucking 5.5, 5 3/4 runs. Bullpens have both been gross last 2 weeks. A's ERA shade under 6. Baltimore at 6.5. You got to be looking for scoring this one. I think paying the tax for Baltimore is crazy, who also has the bullpen emoji. When you see that little frying pan, if you're a paid sub, you get the bullpen report. Rico Garcia, 2-3. Kittredge, 2-3. Aikman, 3-4. Nunez, 2-3. Wolfram, 2-3. That bullpen's not good in the first place. Where they're stressed, they could be in a lot of trouble. So it's at 9.5, which is kind of a dick knock a little bit. That's when I like to look at the team totals for discounts. Luckily, we have them now right here. I mean, A's 4.5, minus 105 on the road, getting the 9th frame. Baltimore's 4.5, minus 125. I mean, Lopez hasn't been good either. But the 5, when I see 4.5 and 4.5, but the total is at 9.5, that's when I start looking for the team totals. Man, it's a solid 9.5. If I had to take a play, this one is blank on the show picks. I'll come back and I'll re-rack those for everybody. I'm going to go A's to score. You know, that's been the move lately. That's got the nice price, and we get the 9th frame, as I mentioned. Alrighty. Next up, Reed Detmers on the bump for the Halos. Sorry about that. They're 135 dogs on the road north of the border to face Dillon. Stop, cease, and desist. Minus 165 at the crib for the Bluebirds. I've just got no scoring here. If this one is still 7.5, not to bury the lead, I'm to the under. It is. You get minus 118 on the U 7.5. I'm expecting this one to close at 7. We've always been very good with these totals, especially to the low end. Definitely to the under. If the F5 is 3.5, that I can't bring up right now without fishing for it. If that is 4, I'd give it a thought. If it's near even, if it's at minus 120, forget it. Go to 7.5. Remember, heavy favorite at home. You lose the implication of the bottom of the ninth. These offenses are whack, and both pitchers are pretty good. I think Detmers is set for some positive progression. You could see that. Expected ERA at 2.82, ERA at 4.28. 21 KBB, 13 swing and strike, 33 ball, 37 chase. I mean, Bradish is pretty good. Deluxe was wobbly, 65 left on base, 312 BABIP. So despite a single-digit homer to fly ball, he's not been fortunate. 115 whip says more to me than I need to know. Cease, we like him when you have strikeouts on the other end, and that's what you get with LA right now. Last 2 weeks versus righties. Bottom 3 K, bottom 3 walk, bottom 3 O swing, 25, 6, and 35, respectively, batting 239 as a squad. So they're dog shit. Angels bullpen is the worry if you're going under, right? That's the worry. We're going to need distance from both starters. This is where I've been iffy, right? My longtime listeners know. I used to only go under on the F5. The numbers and the pricing isn't necessarily there. You got to take a little bit of a chance. We know Detmers can get distance, but we're going to need 6 and or 7, right? And or 7 to get this one done. But I'm under 7.5. That's my story. And I'm sticking to it. Next up, Jesse Scholtens. He's actually going today on the bump for the Flat Fucking Fish of Florida. They've got the bullpen emoji and the wind blowing out as 113 dogs down in Fenway to face the Red Laundry and Connolly Early, my boy, who I did a little deep dive this morning and going into the show yesterday. I thought he was going to take a massive leap forward after last year. Everything is in check. Diagnostics, velo, arsenal, every freaking thing is in check. I can't even make the case that he's been wildly unlucky, right? I just want to be fair. I don't really know what's going on, but I do think it's succeeded before. The whiffs have just dropped on the off-speed stuff, and I wonder if maybe it's an arm angle thing. Anybody out there in Boston, holler if you hear me, man. But not what we expected from early. The 3.79 ERA much worse than the indicators. Scholten okay on a per inning basis. He's going to have to get by with command control and keeping it down because he's a kind of low velo guy, which can work. Boston offense blows. Why wouldn't it work now? I'd be under except for the wind and the bullpen. So getting a lot of mixed signals. Man, I really want early. I really want early to come through here. But I don't want to force feed you my guys because that just wouldn't be fair. But Tampa in such a rough split versus lefties last 30 days, 320 plate appearances, fucking terrible, man. 627 OPS, but 48 ground ball, 31 hard hit, a sub 2% barrel, 290 xWOBA. This offense freaking blows. Boston bullpen's been good, but so is the Rays. If it's close late, it could be a dogfight. Not sure which offense I even think is better. But again, if it comes down to the end, we should have the edge. Sulzer 3 of 4, Clevenger back-to-back, Kelly back-to-back and 3 of 4, and Hunter, I don't know if it's Biggie Smalls or Bij, but let's call him Biggie Smalls for now, 2 of 3. So that bullpen is kind of hanging by a thread. I guess I'm going to stick with my guns on the original show pick and go Boston for the win. I just want to make sure that price hasn't gotten out of control. We're starting to get to that minus 140 range, which is where I'm like, because we are kind of asking for a bit. But as of right now, I think Boston gets it done at the price. Next up, the winged Lion Foster Griffin on the bump for the Nacionals. They're on the road to Miami to face the mighty Marlins and the Robbie Snelling debut. Wind blowing in, totals at 4.5 and 8.5. Let me just double check that. That sounds a little bit high. That's true. The 8.5 is juiced to minus 120. That bitch is probably going to come down. Regardless, I'm under this bad boy. Griffin's been really good. Marlins offense is okay. They're not great. I think they're lagging down. Nats offense, which was riding high, really taking advantage of mashing all the lefties, has fallen apart a little bit against righties. Let's start there. Though I'm a Momo, Snelling lefty. So it looks like that's my first. I got to take that. Yeah, strike 3 outside corner. Shit. I still might be on the under. Let's take a look. I had this in my mind. Flip-flopped. Again, I'm not like a big prospector guy. I didn't realize Snelling was lefty. So this one is lefty-lefty. Let's go to the L30 page. Reset my senior moment and go from there. Even the Nats versus lefties, I'll tell you what, not as strong as I thought it was. They had killed them out of the box, and maybe it's just gotten really bad really fast. I'm going to make the exception. I want to see it on the season now. Okay, and you can see that, right? So, again, that's why the sheets are so helpful when you learn to order everything and move back and forth. You can keep that train of thought rolling. Again, $2 a week is not enough for all the time this shit is going to save you if you give a crap about this at all, or if originate your own work. You know, you could copy all these sheets and really take it from there. So back to the matter at hand was Washington, right? There were still some very strong overall macros. Listen, I'm not selling that out. Tons of doubles, averages there, but the BABIP is high, on base because the walks are there, but the disciplinary stuff is starting to bleed through. The power stuff that was carrying them is starting to wane. And now look, it's even showing, like I said, in the L30. I don't usually look L14 lefty. It's like a little small for me. But yeah, too many Ks, losing in the zone while not being aggressive like they normally are. And the power's kind of disappeared. So Nats offense, look, I would just call it lagging down safely. Marlins haven't hit lefties for shit. So even though it was incidental, I am back on the under here. What is the worry would be the bullpens. The ERAs are decent, but the underpinning stuff is not. A lot of pitch to contact in these bullpens, which is not what I like, but I think that's papered in to the 8.5, especially as always. Marlins are favored at home. I'm not that confident. If you see the model, I've got Washington for a win. I know everybody loves the shiny new thing and everybody loves prospects. I generally don't like to pay premiums for a debut. We don't know what kind of distance he's going to get. He's also had a couple of bad control outings. Toast and I were talking about this last night. Right now, he's running like, even with this crazy, it's a 40% strikeout rate in the minors. He's running a 14% walk rate or something. He had 2 starts, I think, of 6, had at least 4 walks. So that's emblematic of, you know, there were days where it's not there, or like a thin arsenal, right? Like a not robust arsenal where he has other places to go when the main pitchers are not working. So just be careful with Snelling. Again, I think it'll be good. I think we're pretty lined up here. I'd be careful with the, you know, paying any kind of juice. But that's just me. I feel pretty strongly about that U 8.5. So I'm going to just move it on from there. Connor Prelip on the bump for the Twins. They're on the road as plus 123 dogs down in Cleatown. My boy Parker Messick going for the Guards down in Forest City as a minus 150 favorite. Guards had the emoji as also Smith back-to-back, Sabrowski back-to-back, and Gaddis back-to-back. Man, 3 straight does not happen often. You may see Guardians management look to avoid using the best arms. Going to be interesting how this pans out because Prelip has actually been very good on a per inning basis. Let's bring him to the top. Sub-1 whip through 14 innings, small sample, but very good. Now, the cold stuff, he needs to get over more. He's relied on a heavy BABIP, right, for a lot of fly balls. And there's been barrels. I think I must have missed that. That home run fly ball, you got to bring that up. I'm not sure what we think about Cleveland's power stroke right now. Cleveland versus lefties, if I'm not mistaken, it's actually been stronger than I thought. See, that's why I have the stats also. Very easy to assign narratives. They've actually been, okay, so that's what it was. The year-to-date stuff, what I had plugged was a complete lack of power, right? So that's what triggered what we were just talking about. However, that's kind of ticked up a little bit as of late. And I think it's always worth noting, right, when we mentioned the rising tide and adding bats into the lineup, this is not even the opening day lineup. Bazana in pajamas is out there. And, DeLauder is, a real thing. And you're getting, Schneeman every day, who's been good. I don't know. The new iteration of Rocchio that I like. So maybe the guards are better than... I've been overly critical of the guards' offense in the past. So maybe if we're looking for a little bit of negative regression from Prelik and we like Messick on a per inning basis, he's been excellent. I think he had a rough start last time out. Who gives a shit? He might not even have. I think maybe he just didn't get run support. Either way, Messick is awesome and coming off a bad start. I'm more likely to buy on the rectangular pattern, right? Whatever. That's a method of thinking that I think people miss out on here. Watch this one. Big nose incoming. Funny because I don't understand anything about YouTube Shorts, but I'm not good at editing, so I try and do these things in freaking one crack if I can. Most things in life don't continue in one direction. People see a team that's hitting and automatically expect more of that. Or a pitcher that's doing well, looking dominant, and expecting more of that. Most things in this world are not predicated on breakouts in either direction, but rectangular patterns. When things are high, expect them to come back down. Not all the way, but come back down. And the same is true in reverse. Just that style of thinking will really boost a lot of novices' P&L. You can write that shit down. All right, enough of my fucking ugly grill. A faccia bruta. All right, so give me the guards, man. Guards are going to win. Twins offense is a little scary. You got to worry about the ding-dongs. But I think Messick is the winning piece here. I think Messick is the carrying tool. And if we can keep it close later on, guards have a tremendous advantage in the bullpen. So I've got guards for a clean win. I got to be honest, it's not quite at the 145. But I still like it anyway. I like the guards bullpen with the emoji more than I like the Twins fully rested. I just think the talent level is completely different. And hopefully Messick will get a 7. So let's move on from there. Next up, Keto Montero and the Tigres. They're on the bump in Kansas City to face Chris Bubich and the Royals with Cheese. Detroit plus 125, minus 143 for the home side. Not like it's dominant, but I've got Detroit modeled for a win. They're also interesting because they only have a 3.5 marker there. Montero's just been better than I wanted to give him credit for. The issues with lefties that had really plagued him, he's cleaned up a lot of. And now with this, getting ahead of everybody and pounding the zone and then not getting killed by lefties, Montero's been pretty good. He's not going to light up the DFS boards. He's not going to go over his strikeout props. 1,000 ways to skin a cat without scratching his asshole. It's not the only way to do it. I worry, of course, about the lack of stuff at 94. Of course. But I think Montero is a little bit undersold. And I like Bubich on a per inning basis. He's worrying me with this control stuff. He's not been in command. Walking too many batters, the KBB now down to 14, 30 chase, 57 first strike. For a guy that kind of works up in the zone a little bit. Detroit's hits lefties also, if I'm not mistaken. Last 334 plate appearances there. I mean, this is a top third, maybe even top 8 overall. Because, look, it's a good matchup against Bubich. They're not chasing and taking walks plus getting power. That's been the bugaboo for him. So I don't mean to kill the Royals because I tend to... I like the Royals. I lose lots of money on them. You know what I mean? I do. The offense is starting to tick up a little bit. But their discipline's also kind of spun out of control, and I thought that would be a carrying tool for this team. Just interested in the last 7, just for as an idea. Casey mixed signals. The lift is there, and we like it. The barrels have shown up, which we like. They're even stealing some bases. So I just can't get too high on them until they really start to push. Again, the strikeouts have really held this team back all season, in my opinion. Bullpen strong on the Tiger side. Same for the Royals, though I believe the underpinning stuff for Detroit a little bit more. So what I mean to say is I just think this one is close, and I think Detroit could edge it out. I think Montero is maybe on par with Bubic. I think I like the Detroit offense more than I like Bubic, because then even though I probably like the Detroit platoon guys better versus righties, you're going to get all those guys later. So we've talked about platoons to death. It's been a real point of success for a lot of teams. So I think I'm sticking with Detroit. I was curious what my show pick was. I forget. Under the 8.5. Okay, if that one's 8.5, yeah, I'll take that also. I was kind of talking to myself that same way. Where I think the pitchers have the edge, and I think the bullpens are pretty good. Though, always worth checking the price. The U 8.5 is -105. I'm not going to say I don't like to bet totals out of -105. I would never bet a -105 without checking the alt total now first. The lack of standardization in alt total pricing is a potential for edge, right? It's not an edge because it's different every time, but it is a potential for edge. Think of runs having a value, which, is kind of intuitive. But once you start running this exercise, similar to, this is my same pitch all the time. My work looks so similar every day because templating helps you execute on muscle memory. Same idea here. Build a standard through a template, and it gives you a point of reference to at least be objective, where you can test a process rather than fucking be willy-nilly all over the place, which is the worst. In trading, we called it system hopping. Funny, that term, just first time I thought of that term in probably a fucking decade. And we don't hear that a lot in betting, and that's super important to avoid. It's also why I have the combine. Aside trying not to get my dick, torn out in the first month. Just to make sure that you're on the right track. You're not getting killed. You could test some success. See where maybe you're going wrong. And you have the temperature of the market that year. All right, enough of that bullshit. Emerson John Hancock on the bump for the Mariners. I can't believe I butchered. That's my boy, too. Emerson John Hancock. He's a fucking founding father, man. What the hell? On the bump for the M's, -143. That number has been moving further and further towards Seattle. They're on the road in Chicago to face Sean Burke and the Palehose +118. Frankly, I was hoping for a 4.5 on the first 5 total to go under. And that sucks. Because this feels like a game, at one point there would have been, I just saw a live 4. Odds Trader is saying there are 4.5s. And if you can get one of these, U 4.5, -115, I think that's my play. We get the best of both sides, right? We get Hancock, we get Burke. Both bullpens have been good also, so just make sure that I would price this. Mariners are the favorite on the road, so you're probably getting the 9th frame. Not that it should matter that much. Munoz been a little bit of like a thrill a minute. Not to say I'm trying to fade this guy or avoid him. But Hancock's been fantastic on a permanent basis. Same for Burke, right? That's where we want our money, behind the horses. Command and control with swing and miss. Burke is, in particular, the command this year has been fantastic. He continues this season to be excellent. Offense's last 2 weeks versus righties, Chicago in particular, has fucking stunk. They're trying to sell out. I guess we could give them the sellout label because the chase rate is low and the pull fly ball rate is high with the barrels. Usually that manifests with more extra base hits. But whatever, they're taking walks. I'll give them the sellout, even with the high K. Mariners are just striking out a ton, losing in zone. Other than that, it's been okay. Yeah, I like the pitchers to get it done here. I wonder if there's a 8. So the total is 8. I prefer under 4.5 than FGU 8 because I'm a pussy. Hey man, I worry about the Ghost Runner. I don't like that shit. It absolutely kills me. It freaking pisses me off. I've had more than one game that was 1-1 or 2-2 going into the ninth, lose a fucking 9.5 or some shit. And, that's just absolutely fucking sickening. So yeah, give me F5U 4.5. I had Seattle last night, but Seattle was minus 131 last night. And that's part of why I talk so highly about the boys at Source Network. You do the midnight stream if you're up with the fucking right early bird catching the worm. These motherfuckers' stomachs are filled with worm meat. Sam and Kyle just feasting on worms. You're up first and you've just picked up lines off. And everything we were in front of, we ended up moving that way. And money lines, this goes back to the prediction market stuff I was talking about yesterday. If you're betting it, you can capture it. You get to keep it, but you have to play it. In prediction markets, the fees of moving in and out eat up those percentage points. Mariners are a perfect example of what I was referring to yesterday. Perfect example. I knew that line was going to move. And I guess I could have liked it, but I don't know. I think the White Sox are good. I was hoping for that under to pop up. It wasn't. Up yesterday, F5 lines are notoriously slow. Anyway, you've got both teams below 2.15 through 5. So I just have all 2-2s and 2-1s. And the 3s should very rarely come with a 2. So let's stay under that 4.5 through 5 and moving on up. To the Midwest, max fried eggs on the bump for the bad guys. New York Yankees minus 135. Holy crap. Max Fried and the Yankees as a minus 135 favorite. I don't know if I updated that. Is that live? That's a blind steal. You're just not going to find that often. It is minus 135 for the Yanks on the road against the Brew Crew. And here's the issue. Yankees money line was exactly the point that Kyle was making on its face. Fried being awesome. Milwaukee's offense really not being great. However, right? Bought. Big shaking ass, you know what I'm saying? With your big ass. With your fucking big ass. Brewers offense, which has been despicable. Good example of adding pieces, right? We were just talking about that. You insert Jackson Churio leading off, Andrew Vaughn in the 3-hole. It's a totally different lineup. Also, both those guys very good against lefties. Now, I'm not sure. Right, so that was the toast point, that's why the show is very good. I also very much appreciate them. Not only do they let me go and talk my shit, but Kyle is really listening, and sometimes he'll be like, no. I love it. And sometimes he's like, yeah, okay. And I love that. So that show plus this show is like all the fucking prep you could possibly need. But if you listen to them late, if you listen to them in the morning, don't be surprised when the lines are different. No shit. Like if you think you're going to go running to the book, a lot of them not there. So Max Fried Eggs is going to be good. Brewers offense, I think, is going to be better than whatever horse shit we're looking at, last 30. Where they have not a single home run, batting 205 and 240 plate appearances, too many ground balls, too passive, 4% barrel. I don't think that's what this team is. Yankees offense right now, perpetually good. Let's flip over to the pitching. So is Misiorowski, though. As good as essentially anybody on a per inning basis. He has one of, if not the best, four-seamer in Major League Baseball. The issue here, because he'll tend to get cute with 3 balls and give up walks, Yankees always supremely patient and very hard to get to reach. I'm always jocking the Yankees this year, and it makes me feel so dirty. But I think Miz has given up 2 earned in every single start except for one. He's not invincible. Both bullpens have been pretty good. This total already dropped to 7. If it drops any more to 6.5, we're probably going over. Because that's where I'm at right now. Right now, I have a 7 because I have 3 to 3 is 4. Now, I wouldn't bet this one both teams to score. Unless on a 7, you get them both to score 1 run. Other than that, it's not like I'm looking for scoring here. I'm just saying, I think it's easy to chase the big names, and I get it, but we all know this. Totals, in essence, will never go to 6 or below, right? They just don't. It's not something they do. However, quite frequently, games end up under 5 runs. So there's always, that's why, unders are a sharper play. Not only do they not need anything to happen where other things need stuff, but that's why. Because the books will just, they're not going to go down there. Now, the flip side of that is because you have the infinite run out to the upside, right? You can't get negative runs. You can only start with 0. And once you go over 8, you're over, right? You can get up to 1 million in theory. I think the Yankees win. I feel like such a fucking bitch doing this. But I do. I think the Yankees win. I think Fried is entirely too good of a pitcher. The Yankees are too good of an offense. We're too good of a bullpen to be anywhere at minus 135 of the way that they're playing. They have the best record in the major leagues, I'd imagine. Yankees have 26 wins, tied with the Braves and the Cubs. 3 games better than the Dodgers. So it's going to be tough sledding. I don't think this is some knockout blow here. Miz has also had problem with distance, and I think the Yankees are going to do what they always do, which is kind of outlast the opposition. Ben Brown on the bump for the Baby Bears. Alliteration aside, minus 143 favorite on the road in Texas to face Kumar, rock and roller, plus 120 dog at the crib. I don't like this. I have this as, I'm going to call this, the totals are fairly priced. I quite literally am right on the nose. You could probably make an argument to get me on an over early, but that would fade away late because the bullpens have both been good. Brown, who can be very good on a per inning basis, can tend to be volatile. We also don't know what this workload is going to look like. I'm gonna actually bring up the load. There's a couple of these guys. Griffin Jacks is going through this, and Ben Brown. So we got to keep an eye on progression and pitch count. Man, Brown's been really great. He was off to a tough go. He gave up 4 earned in his first couple outings, and then he's been he's been unhittable lately. He has a .6 ERA in his last 15 innings, so 1 earned in his last 15. He's gone as far as 2 1/3. This is Ben Brown for the Bears. Pitch counts. See, this is where the worry comes in. Earlier in the year, you were getting 40s and 50s consistently. Last 3, 11, 24, 25. It feels like a 2-inning job to me. 2-inning max. Where they're going to go after that, gosh, frankly, I'm not even 100% sure where they're going to go. Let me see if I can take a best guess. I'm not sure if they announced it yet. But yeah, see, there's all these uncertainties. I kind of getting away from it. I wanted to see if I could come up with a reason for the over, because I really like the Cubs offense. They do a lot against both-handed hitters. Again, they have some strong platoon pieces there. Ballesteros is a freaking beast, know what I'm saying? Oh, Javier Assad, who I'm not crazy about. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like this one. And I don't really like Rocker. I think I was talking about the Cubs team total. Let me take a look at that on 365. It's 4.5 minus 115. But again, the Texas bullpen's been really good. I'm just going to fade this shit. You don't need to bet every damn thing. Did I have it blank? No, I had an over. I had over 8.5 because I had both teams clear of 4. But whatever. Nolan McLean and the Let's Go Mets go on the bump in the desert against Ryan Nelson and the Snakes with shapes on their back. Now, not to bury the lead here, I'm so far on the under, I feel like maybe I didn't bring it over properly. I want to make sure No, I got it too. And again, this is... Gosh, I'm so far under, I'm like uncomfortable. Let me check. I mean, I guess I could have bumped for Arizona. But even still, there's not that much there. The Mets bullpen has been great. The Diamondbacks bullpen is even getting outs. Low BA, low barrel, low whip, all the stuff we're kind of looking for. Mets with the dope Sierra and the ridiculous KBB. Devin Williams is kind of back on track. I don't really like either offense. I think McLean is a GOAT. I'm worried about the Nelson part here. I really am on an under. I've always liked Nelson. I think the model is too into Nelson last year. Right, last year Nelson had a 3.39 ERA and a 107 whip, 15 KBB. This year is a 6.6 ERA and a 1.44 whip. The command has been good, but he's throwing the four-seamer too often. He's been a bit unlucky, but when you're going to telegraph a bad pitch like that all the time, you're probably going to get yoked. But stoppable force meets movable object because the Mets offense is dog shit. Last 2 weeks versus righties, they've been gross. Last 7, they've been gross. I mean, it's just awful. All the double plays, losing in the zone. They don't steal. We've been pressing how important it is to have steals in the column. That said, I am very, very uncomfortable. I am very uncomfortable. But if it's 8.5, I got to go on the under. I think the Mets win at minus 137. I'm not sure if that line is still there. It is. I think both of those. I think the Mets win with the under. Give me a rare... That's like a rare same gamer. You know what I mean? To go with a... like a Mets win and the under. Of course, I clicked the wrong fucking thing. God, I hate these books. They all make everything so difficult for us freaking boomers. You know what I mean? So in theory, that's a plus 210. That's what I like. I like a lowered risk plus 210 general market same game parlay. What the fuck was that? But give me Mets at the other. I think the Mets get it. I think McLean shoves. I'm not really scared of this Diamondbacks offense right now. They're very top heavy and haven't hit righties for shit. Hard to rely on the Mets to do too much, but... And that's why I guess I'm just under. I just am way under. I think this line is entirely too high. I think Nelson is a little bit better than we've seen, but maybe he gets shellacked and like the Mets just prolapse him in front of 30,000 screaming fans. I don't know. Next up, Michael McGreevy on the bump for the Cards. They're 130 dogs on the road against the winged Lion, Griffin Canning, and the Padres. I didn't understand this line at all. I had the Cardinals winning this one outright. Give me the Cardinals to win. McGreevy's been good. He doesn't do it the way DFS players and prop bettors like it, right? It's low K, high contact. But he's a strike thrower. And Canning, I can't believe we lost to him off the debut. I'm not buying this bullshit, man. He's walking the yard. He was wild. 45 fly ball, 56 hard hit, 22 barrel. That was in the smallest sample, but like to give you an idea of how bad all the damage stuff was. Cardinals offense has been pretty good. Canning has always had a little bit of issues with lefties. Cards have a few strong ones. He's going to see a bunch of them. Padres offense deserves no respect at all. Look at the two offenses v righties. You can't really even compare the two. They're not on the same level. Cardinals have 3 times as many doubles, 50-something points in fucking average, 100 points in slug, 150 points in OPS, and like 50-something points in xWOBA. I mean, a 357 xWOBA. The Cardinals are ripping righties right now. Padres are not hitting. The bullpen, yes, the Padres have the better bullpen. Right now, they're giving up tons of runs. So maybe we could shorten this to the F5 if we want to jump on Canning. I'd be fine with that. As I talk through it, that always feels fine to me. You want to talk conservatism and playing safe, that's fine. That number looks like it's even money. I was going to say I got to get me even money if I'm going to take it. Right, I'm not going to pay juice for the run. I'd rather get the plus 125 or whatever it is. It's plus 125 or even money. 25 cents for that F5 run is right on the line, but I do think we get to Canning. Right, this isn't a situation where, again, facing Luzardo, right, with an underdog, a little bit different. He's like a legit good pitcher. I don't feel the same way about Canning. So I'm going to change my St. Louis full game to F5. And moving on, doing okay with time. Going to get this one in comfortably. I did pretty good at streamlining. 2 left. Chris Sale on the bump. This is just your must-watch game. People, you don't have to bet on anything, on everything. But Chris Sale plus 100 is really tempting. That's all just the Dodgers carrying public weight. That's a reputation play. Emmett Sheehan should not be a favorite over Chris Sale. Point blank. Sale is on a Cy Young track right now. Sheehan, after some real struggles, has cleaned it up. The underpinning disciplinary bin here is all red. We love it. Tons of swing and miss, called stuff over, swing and miss, inducing chase, winning in zone. All good. All good. That said, he will miss from time to time. And I don't think he has the same kind of track record as a guy like Sale. And we're talking about one of, if not like the best offense in the league with the Braves, even without Acuna. Yeah, Acuna is the man. I don't really move models that much. That's one of the real surprising things you learn about offensive players being out of the lineup, that Alonso will get scratched late, Acuna scratched late, Soto scratched late. You won't see the total move a fucking run. You won't see the line move 50 cents. It's not how it is. So you like them, but it's too variant on a per player basis. It's really about depth, how you handle platoons, and how you handle tough bullpens. Dodgers Pen v lefty has been the week split. These stats are not bad, but without the high BABIP, again, there aren't a ton of line drives. There aren't a ton of barrels that get you the high BABIP. This is a little flimsy. Approach is good, but Sale is the man. Atlanta bullpen's also been good, but so is the Dodgers. So there's definitely a case for the under. Is it low, man? It's 8. That's pretty tempting. Book's trying to get us to go to the under with the really strong offenses on both sides. My gut is still to go with the Braves. I think the Braves outlast them. Dodgers have to lose like everybody else. But when you face the Dodgers, you just understand it's going to be a really tough go. Man, I would hate to lose a dogfight not on the under. But they're both either at or close to 4. So, my model not too far away from that 8. Certainly not reflected in the way I feel, like the inflection of my voice. I disagree, but I understand. Teams that hit home runs are runs, and you can get 2 or 3 at a time. On base is going to be tough. Base runners, I should say, will be tough. For Sale, less so with Sheehan, and that's why I think I like the Braves. So give me Atlanta at the money. I'm just kind of a sucker for... I'm very clear, right? I telegraph my own issues. I'm going to pay for free. I'm going to pay... And you're not paying $220, right? Don't get me wrong. I'm going to pay minus 130 or better for legit aces and just kind of roll the dice. All right, last but not least, that was a hell of a show. Please find it in your heart. Support good people doing good work. The company and employee relationship is broken right now. Jobs are tough. Everyone's getting undercut, replaced by fucking AI. Go right to the person. Check out the Substack. You can see the sample for free, or you could just scroll the Twitter handle also. If you're unfamiliar, it's my name, @John Legeza, and then just start pressing all the stuffs and things. And if you want to be pretend internet famous for all of 3.5 seconds, if you write something nice about me on social media, I'll tweet it out. I'll retweet it. All right, last but not least, Carmen Machinsky on the bump. They're on the road in San Fran. Okay, it looks like Robbie Ray is locked in. I'm not sure why that was so iffy. He's a regular starter that, he makes all of his starts. He's not a converted reliever or anything. And I wonder if he was like sick or something. I'm not sure. Model kind of likes an over, but not a smash over. I also liked Pittsburgh by a hair. I've really had a hard time backing the San Francisco offense. They're atrocious. Pittsburgh versus lefties has been no picnic either. So maybe I should be talking in terms of unders. This one, if you go under, you certainly would want to be first 5. Pirates bullpen having a good season. Giants bullpen's been whack as of late. Don't love the arm talent out there. I guess the Santana Soto thing for Pitt is okay. And like Killian is good for the Giants, but I don't really have the trust here. Machinsky, not really a 7-inning guy. Ray, not really a 7-inning guy. So you can see how this could spin off the rails, even if we're off to a good start for the under. Oh, I thought it was... if it's 3.5, I'm a jerk. I missed that. So I'm just out. I think Pitt wins, but I think it'd be under. The 7.5 feels so low. It's you 7.5 minus 105. So maybe we could find like a decent 8. Maybe that would be cool. But I'm like, man, I don't know. Ray is up and down. I think he gives up at least a run or two. Machinsky's been good. He's coming off a rough start. I was kind of wanting to buy the dip. I think the play I settled on last night, because Ray was not locked, was San Francisco under. Let me see that. They have the orange box, so they're 3.5. It's really hard to go under 3.5. I don't like to go under 3.5. So I'm just out. All right, let's get the freak out of here, yo. Appreciate you all for picking up what I'm putting down. Remember, it ain't madness.
This is Sparta!
Damn right it is. So to all mi gente, you blowing up the chat, appreciate it. Carolina, B squared. That's Jeff and B Rose. And Adonis, B.E., my boy. Appreciate you. Jason, of course. Capo Status. Joe Chris, new name. Welcome aboard. Damn Thief, good to see you. Happy Friday. Appreciate you all. Carolina, really, thanks for the work you're putting in. I see it. And if anyone is checking this out afterwards, B Rose, how did I miss the Honey Nut Cheerio? How did I miss that? Jeez, man, I'm losing my edge a little bit, right? A lot of back and forth here. And then, let me tell you something, brother.
Doesn't work for me, brother.
Doesn't work for me, brother. It doesn't work for me, brother. All right, let's get the hell out of here. Enjoy the weekend. Do your damn thing. Promise. Today, you will get football content. I promise. I am so tired, but I promise. All the games are late, so I have a nice little chunk. The data and stats are cleaned and set for all the new player moves. The best ball ranks are almost finalized. It's V1. Obviously, these things are going to change a million times, but I'm syncing our sheets together with statistics, which was an ask that I got last year. It's a bitch. I understand. It's a total bitch to be flipping back and forth. It wasn't efficient. This year, the best ball stuff will be much more efficient for football. And then remember, even hat tip to Underdog, they make this stuff very easy to use. Even the sheet with the stats is uploadable. So however they figured it out, it must take the first couple, whatever the fuck it is. But yeah, I'm really happy with that. So even our stat sheets fully loaded, as they change in real time, you just download the CSV, upload it right in Underdog, takes like fucking 10 seconds. And I'm not saying you need to use my ranks. I have a pretty good history of best ball. I'm a good fantasy player. More than anything, you know me, homie, right? It's all about hard work. I'm constantly curating the lists. So at the very least, I'm going to keep you from eating fucking zeros, which again is like the biggest thing. Baseball, it happens, and football, it happens. People play volume and they run on auto trying to mass draft without curating lists. And guys that are hurt are getting drafted like a month after they're a zero. So you don't want to be that person. There aren't enough roster spots to be taking zeros. Plus, unfortunately, the zeros are going to find us. So with that, let's get the fuck out of here. Appreciate you. I'm going to probably drink tonight. I feel like drinking tonight. All right, yo. Hit me up. And that's it. I'll catch you in a little bit. Support the show. Subscribe to the Substack. If money is really the issue, hit me up. I'll get you hooked up for a month behind the paywall. Try and make the money to sign up. Because I really think if you are serious, this is a really good pathway to do it for as little cost as you can. The time it would take to set up this war room every day is a couple of hours, so it's the best I can do for $2 a week. Appreciate you all. Enjoy the games. Enjoy the day. When we're done with the book, enjoy the pay. And remember, when you work this freaking hard, the winning feels a lot less like luck, you. Peace out, mi gente, yo.